I just got off the phone with the guys, and we were talking about some stuff, and it got my brain moving in the ways that it does. We've always been so in front of you, but it feels like we've been very quiet for the last few years. So it made me ponder upon a few things, and made me think, what do you guys want to know? Do you guys have any burning questions that you want to ask Alexandria or us as individuals? Is there anything you've always wondered about? Anything that's ever been in the back of your mind or the tip of your tongue that we've never answered for you? Let's do that. Let's do some sharing. I don't know if it was as much not being a people person. I was just very unhappy. I've been in some very negative environments with some very not good people who were very bad for me and not exactly great to me. And it made it very difficult to then go into the outside world and put on a smile and pretend like everything was okay. Especially while it was during a time that the things that were asked of me and wanted of me and that people felt they were owed from me were things that also made me very unhappy, which is a very difficult thing to deal with, especially when you don't know how to communicate that. So, something I've worked on extensively, and I'm in a much better place, so definitely friendlier now. This is a very, very good question, and it's one I've thought about before. I don't remember if I came to an answer or a conclusion to myself, but I know it took me a long time to think about. My instincts wants to say Alone in a Room because it's obviously been so enormously successful, and I feel like it's a very accessible song, and it's a very good representation of who we are as people and as musicians and as songwriters. I know there are some people who want the answer to be something off the first couple of albums, which it can't be because that's such a departure from who we are now. But I don't think anything brand new reflects everything there has been. So I feel like it would have to be something like Into the Fire, maybe. It's probably the best answer I got right now. My favorite song I have ever played live is Stay With Me by Faces, aka Rod Stewart, and all his glory. But in terms of Asking Alexandria, it has been the same answer for quite a long time now. And it is probably an obvious choice. It is by a massive margin our biggest song, which I feel very fortunate for. I feel like a lot of artists, if they don't talk about it outwardly, it's definitely spoken of inwardly, or at least felt. A lot of artists don't love their biggest song because it's something they have to do all the time. And I know I have felt that way in the past throughout songs, but Alone in a Room has so much magic to it, and I love singing that song, I love performing that song. And some nights, not every night, some nights it's great, but some nights it is truly magical, and it moves me and reminds me why I wanted to do this in the first place. So, Alone in a Room. I don't love how it feels. It's something I hadn't done for a long time, and had never done correctly, and I've done a lot of damage to my voice through it. So outside of, any personal feelings, I had a kind of a resentment towards it for that, where it's definitely been detrimental to my abilities and performance and comfort and pain levels as a singer. But David Benitez, I've never asked how to pronounce his last name, which is terrible of me. We spent a little bit of time together, and he gave me a couple little things that have definitely helped, and starting doing it again over this very recent history it's definitely better than before. But it's something I have to keep a conscious eye on and be careful with. I don't know if it was as much not being a people person, but I was just very unhappy. I've been in some very negative environments with some very not good people who were very bad for me and not exactly great to me, and it made it very difficult to then go into the outside world and put on a smile and pretend like everything is okay. Especially while it was during a time that the things that were asked of me and wanted of me and that people felt they were owed from me were things that also made me very unhappy, which is a very difficult thing to deal with, especially when you don't know how to communicate that. So, something I've worked on extensively, and I'm in a much better place, so definitely friendlier now. Being a singer was never really on my list. I always loved singers. I always loved the idea of singing. But I was dead set on just being a guitarist, being a songwriter, and then we couldn't find a singer. We had one guy that we had asked who wasn't able to get into the country. We had another guy we'd asked who ultimately decided he didn't want to leave the band he was in, and we couldn't find anyone. So that role got put on me. And I'm very, very thankful for it every single day, because singing is something I love very much. And it's something that I find very rewarding and cathartic. This is another good one. It's interesting. And I'll start with, I've actually seen you pop up on my YouTube a couple of times, and I've watched a couple of your things. Very unique insights. I like how your brain works. But it's difficult to say, because I feel like we're always in such a different place mentally with each record, and I don't think any of us have the ambition to stop. 10 years is a long time. We've already been 15 years in. We're in our 30s now, we'll be in our 40s. Obviously there isn't a kind of a regular retiring age, but I feel like it's definitely a slowing down on traveling the world age, maybe a little bit. But I hope releasing music more consistently, maybe touring a little bit less, which is weird to say considering we haven't toured in a few years because of, spiders. It's spiders. And I don't love snakes either. I live in Florida, so dark bodies of water, because I don't know what's inside them, but I do know that it sharks and alligators who have a taste for blood, my blood in particular, and they're out to get me. And finding like a pickle in a sandwich, the entire thing's compromised now. And cilantro. Okay, first off, eat a dick. Second though, broccoli haircuts is very funny. That tickled me.